Literally, there is no end. You should not have an end to the amount of work you can do on this. Because as soon as you're done with distributors, if you've called every distributor in Eastern Europe, well, now it's time to call every retail store in Eastern Europe. Right?
Hey, what's up?
Hi, how are you doing, buddy?
I guess I'm good. I just had my dinner and I'm feeling good, I guess.
Good. Well, you have a very interesting issue. There are so many dynamics here that I have not dealt with before. So I will say beforehand that I hope I can provide value to you because, number one, it's a business that I haven't done I've done consulting for product, but not for manufacturing. And number two, you're in another country. so
I guess that's a problem, yeah.
yeah, so this is an extremely difficult issue. And I think before I preface this discussion, Fred in chat, you have said that you are in manufacturing, right? That was you that said that? Perhaps we will get a guest on here if I get out of my element real quickly. Okay, he says he's in retail. Okay, well, you should.
I guess there's a connection slide there.
He might have value
Something.
to add. What we'll do first is like, why don't you go over the issue as you see it? I'm probably gonna ask you like 7,000 questions, and
Yeah, I
then
don't mind answering the questions, yeah.
if I get stuck, then we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, okay. So I'm 22.
Yeah.
My family deals with manufacturing small home appliances like electric grills, which I don't think I've seen grills like that in America, in the United States.
Okay.
I've seen you guys having the gas barbecues, but there's something. My grills are something similar to the gas barbecues that you guys have.
Is this a George Foreman basically? Like a little mini grill that have you ever seen a George Foreman?
No, I haven't, but
So I'm gonna pull one up on Amazon.
I can
This
I can
this
probably send you a picture somehow.
well I'm a liar. Well, I'm running a broadcast right now. Oh, you can send me a picture of the grill.
Yeah, of the grill. Just tell me how.
Twitch chat, I guess.
Okay, 1 second. Um, no, it's different.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just give me a second. I should have prepared this, but 1 second.
Oh yeah, posting it in Discord also is fine too. Yeah. But Twitch chat, we'll pull it up on stream. Either way, we'll pull it up on stream. Hey, Pengu, welcome back. What's up? Dudo, hello. Good day. He is from Bulgaria. His accent is cool, yes. Sounds like one of those like hardcore like Russian generals.
Yeah, people have told me that I have an accent close to that.
Yeah, I feel like you're about to like shoot a missile at me from a submarine.
Well, to be honest, if I had a missile in a submarine, I'd probably nuke some of our cities.
Sell it. We don't know what the discussion is about yet, so we were just now having the discussion. But if you stay tuned, we'll know in a minute. Okay, because I need to fully understand the problem. Right, we're in discovery phase right now. This is gonna be a bit funnier of a show because I just spent 3 hours in improv last night. So I'm always a bit Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm always a bit funnier than Monday, Tuesday. Like, so wait, what's the trouble here? You have a picture. You have a picture on your computer, yes?
Yeah, I'm just
So just put.
posting it in general
Yeah,
chat.
that works. Or you could also put it on Imgur. Oh, I see it. Okay. Okay, cool. We see it. How does this work? Oh my god, it's
Okay,
huge.
so yeah, so there's a cable on the right side, but you don't see it here because it's cut with Photoshop, and you plug it in the AC, the grid, I think it's called in English, and these tubes have heaters inside,
Yeah.
and they basically heat the tubes, and you put your stake on the tubes, and it I don't know, bakes the steak, grills the steak.
Interesting. Okay.
And we also, yeah,
Go ahead.
we also have meatballs. I think it's called in English, and something similar to that, but they're made from ground meat, and it's a traditional thing we eat in Bulgaria. So this product is specifically made for these things to cook.
What is your price per unit?
Ah, I'm not sure. It should be.
It's really important.
This thing costs like 27 levs. I'm gonna tell you in a minute, in a second, how much that is in.
27 lefts?
Yeah, my currency is left.
Oh shit. Here I don't know what I signed up for here. Okay, left
So
to USD conversion.
the math says 15 for 0.43 cents.
Yeah, I
Dollars.
see it.
So if I was living in the United States, we would probably be able to sell this for no less than 40-50 bucks, no problem, I think.
Okay.
But here in Bulgaria, this cost is, I guess, the perfect cost for the market right now.
How much does it cost to make one?
This is a difficult question to answer.
It's a very important question.
I guess we have $1 or $2 profit, I think.
So it costs you $12 to $13 to make one?
Yeah, I'd say so. It depends on the size of the grill because we have different sizes. The bigger sizes have more profit, but it's around there.
The bigger sizes have more profit. How much more profit? How many more? Wait, how many types of these grills do you sell?
Okay, so there's two types: 1,600 watts and 2,400 watts. I mean the power. And the bigger ones are 3,000 and 400 and 4,000.
So you
And
sell
these are for professional use.
Okay, so you sell a small grill and a big grill?
Yeah,
Two types of
and a bunch
products.
of other bigger grills. Yeah, I mean we sell many other products, but these are the main ones we have.
Okay.
We
The
also sell the things you have on an oven that you can put your pan on. I don't know how it's called in English. But these things, the things we sell are portable basically, and they have the same function as the thing you have on top of your oven.
the small grill that costs 15.5 is that's a small grill.
Yeah.
The large grill, how much does that cost? You said you get more margins off that.
It should be around 19 or $20.
Okay, and would you
I
say
think 20 is safe to say.
okay? And for the making of the grill, you said you have larger margins. So how much are you making per grill? Like $3 or $4?
I think the bigger one should be around there. I think around $4.
Okay.
It really depends on the person you're selling the grill to,
Why?
because different merchants have different prices basically.
Why?
A lot of the time you have to bargain with these people,
Uh huh.
the merchants, and the bigger merchants who have more influence get the better prices.
When you say merchant, are you referring to a retail store or someone or what?
When I googled the word merchant, it basically said something about people who sell in retail stores, like small ones, and also people who have warehouses and sell in larger quantities to
Yep.
other retail stores.
Okay.
So I guess the distributors.
Yep. That's right. Okay. Good, good. Okay. All right. Let's talk a bit about the market. So you're selling mainly to warehouses and distributors. Are you doing any of your own retail, either online or physical?
We're currently doing online. We have some stores that are similar to Amazon, but on a much smaller scale.
Can a customer
And
buy a grill directly from you?
yeah, they can.
Okay. Is that the majority of your sales, or are you dealing with distributors?
Oh no, the majority is distributors
By what
and
percentage?
smaller stores. Oh, a couple 100%.
That's not a possible number. That's
Uh,
not a thing that can exist. There's a total of
so
100%.
three, well, maybe 5 or 6 times more is our warehouse and distributor sales compared to the online sales. Maybe
Okay,
even
so
more.
like let's say let's take 10 grills, okay? You have 10 total grills. How many do you sell to customers versus you sell to distributors? Because, for example, if you sold 8 grills to distributors and then you sold 2 grills to consumers, that'd be 80% of your sales going to distributors. Does that make sense?
Well, it's more like 20 to 1. So 20 grills to distributors and 1 grill to the online customer.
20 distributors. Okay, 20 grills.
I think that's a more accurate scale.
Okay, so for about every, and we don't need like specific numbers yet. We just need to like get a good idea. So every 20 grills, 21 grills, 20 go to 20 go to a distributor, manufacturer, and 1 goes to a customer. So that would be so one. What percentage is that, chat? I'm just trying to figure this out because like okay, so like because I have to think of it in terms of like a percentage of sale. 5%. So 5% of his sales are
Yeah,
customers.
it's around
Yeah.
4.7%, something like that.
Okay, and then 95% to distributors. Okay. Okay, great. This is really good. We're off to a good start. So let's talk about the market a bit. So the market you are in. Oh, actually, what kind of revenue are you doing? Because that's going to be a totally different discussion depending. Like, are you doing like $1 million a year? Are you doing like 100,000 a year? Like, what around?
We are nowhere close to 1 million. Um, let me do the math. 1 second. I think around 200,000, $270,000 a year.
270,000.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
and I'm
think so.
guessing basically the problem is that barely any of that right now is profit. Probably it sounds like that
Yeah,
most
yeah,
yeah that
that's the
most
main
of
problem.
this
Yeah.
right okay so there's a yeah, so we need to understand the market next because what we're going to try to figure out is if this is a problem at a product level or if this is a problem at a cost level or if this is a problem at a market level, and to do that we need to understand all three. So the market, can you are you selling exclusively to people in Bulgaria?
We have a couple distributors who sell to other countries around us, and I think we sell a little bit to the UK, but the amount we sell to with export is negligible, I think.
Okay, so your market is mostly local.
Yeah,
Okay.
mostly local.
The grills you sell in the UK, do you price those up?
Yeah, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you count the difference in currency, the profit becomes larger.
Yep. Okay, that's good. Do you have any kind of work in the US at all?
No,
Okay.
no.
Um, as far as why can you describe to me like the kind of like customer that would buy one of these? Like a
Well,
Bulgarian customer?
right now the product is priced towards the average Bulgarian person.
Okay.
So if a grill costs 27 levs, and the minimum wage here in Bulgaria right now is 550 levs, I think, a month. An average Bulgarian can buy this product without much of a problem.
Hmm.
And considering how we make these grills to have at least a 2-year warranty, it becomes affordable for the average customer.
Do you honor that warranty?
Excuse me?
You honor that warranty, so like for any reason, like if the grill breaks in like a year and a half, so you can go back and get it another
Oh
one.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We directly change the grill. If a person wants to have it repaired, we have no problem repairing the grill. But if someone wants, we can directly change the thing
Okay.
with a new one.
Do you have a high failure rate on grills? Do you have a high request rate back on warranties?
No,
Okay.
I think the statistics is around
Should be less than
1%.
2%. Good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Um, okay. Less than 2% returns. Okay. Good. Um, okay, let's start like let's start getting like really into it. Like, okay. So when I read your email, the most interesting problem that I came across was that let me look for the specific thing you said. Um, I want to talk about your competition because it seems like that's where you said that so you have other competitors who are
Yeah,
selling
we have
similar products.
three or four competitors who
Uh-huh.
sell the same product with very small differences in, I guess, the outside shell, the how the
But you
metal
said
parts are
they are
bent.
selling their products for higher in Bulgaria.
There's one of our competitors sells them higher. The other ones, uh, let's say we have four other competitors. One of them sells with higher prices, and the other three sell with prices around ours or even cheaper than us.
Okay.
Uh, and right now, the that one competitor with higher prices, he really doesn't care about the other ones because he obviously somehow manages to sell with higher prices, and he can afford not to care.
Are these substantially higher revenue companies?
Um, I'm not completely sure.
What would you
The
guess?
competitor with higher prices is definitely has more revenue than us. Couple of times probably. The other ones probably are about the same as us, maybe a little bit more. I think. I
Okay.
I think we're, let's say, third out of five
Okay.
manufacturers. Yeah.
So you also write here um, that the distributors. Um, so what I'm really interested in is I need to find where you wrote this again.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I can explain.
What I'm interested in is um, the competitors are selling. I want to focus on this one competitor that's selling higher prices and doing better. This is really interesting to me, right? Because the question that I want to figure out is what is that person doing that is working that you're not doing, and my question is are they selling to different distributors or the same distributors?
So right now, the market in Bulgaria is somewhat split between all the manufacturers. On some places, we have some coverage that we compete um, with the same merchant. There are a couple of places like that, but mostly the market is split up. Um, yeah, I think.
So are they able to connect with premium distributors that you just don't have relationships with?
So this seller that sells higher also is able to sell in big chain markets. But right now he can afford that because he has bigger margins, and because basically the chain stores make very big orders. But you have to deliver the big order, but they pay you maybe a month or two after you finish the order. So you have to spend a lot of time without any money, basically.
Yeah,
And
there's it's net 60 or net 90, so you're basically giving them a loan, and you have to be able to cover that while you run your business. Uh huh.
pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
he can do that because he has the money because of the higher margins,
Yeah.
and he because of the higher margins he can afford more people that are working in his factory and better salaries, and his business is more attractive to workers compared to
Mm-hmm.
ours. So he's also able to manufacture higher quantities that we are not able to.
Mm-hmm. Um.
Because right now we have absolutely no way to sell to these big chain stores because we can't finish orders that big.
And even if you could, you can't cover the costs by the time they pay you.
Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things go hand in hand together. If we can, um, if we have the resources to manufacture these big orders, we will probably have the money to cover the loan, as you said.
Okay. Okay. Um. Why are the distributors using this competitor instead of you? What is he doing better, or do you think that he just like is it a better brand, or is it like what happened there?
Okay, I'm not exactly sure because this person was doing a lot better way before I came into the company,
Was their business just
the
been around? Are
business.
they first to market?
No, I think we entered the market around the same time.
Okay.
So I think this person has basically better marketing than us.
In what way?
For example, his grill has very specific things like the material the tubes are made from, and he's able to market this thing um, in a way that the customers want to basically buy the grill because of the tubes. And he basically says that his tubes are better than ours. This is one thing I think.
But they're not.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, it has absolutely no difference in quality of the grilling and the meat. Yeah,
Okay. And you said in
and
your
I think over time he was basically able to conquer a bigger portion of the market first because so I think I said this in the email as well. A couple of years ago, I think, well, before 2007, because before the huge crisis in the United States, the mortgage bubble,
yeah
we were doing quite good. But when the crisis hit Bulgaria around 2008, we basically sunk heavy, like hard.
yeah
Uh, my parents were not ready for this, and no one told them that this is coming, and they had no way to figure if this thing was coming and when, because they just don't know how to. Their knowledge in economics is extremely limited. So even if they saw the signs, they had no way to interpret them. So they made some bad decision with the money they had at the time, and things went downhill from there. And I think this person made better decisions during that time, and I guess the things got better and better for him after that.
Okay. All right. Okay. So here's where I see the points of impact to start talking about solutions, because I think I understand the premise well enough to start talking about that. So there are a couple of places we can impact. Number one, I guess I'll start from least likely to most likely. Okay. Number
Yeah, no problem.
one is you can. So I'm just gonna write actual solutions. Okay. Number one is you can increase your sales to actual customers. Your margins are so low, and we'll explain all this later. But like your margins are so low that I don't see this as like a really viable alternative. Number two is you can increase your relationships with distributors. This I think is really a good idea, and I'm gonna describe another. Have you ever heard of blue ocean strategy?
No.
Okay, so blue ocean strategy is a management concept in America that where basically this is how it works. It's really simple. Let's say that you have a market. Okay, your market is an ocean, and in the ocean are all kinds of things. Like right, there's like life, and there's like people, and there's like products. There's all kinds of things. And so your ocean is your market, and you're a shark. Okay, you're a shark, and you want to, and you're trying to eat fish in the market. Okay, and you get the fish, you get the customer. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the shark scenario, if there are a bunch of sharks in the ocean eating all the fish, you're not going to get any fish, and there's going to be so much blood, it's going to turn the water red. It's going to be a red ocean, and the amount of sharks in the water are just eating up all the fish, and there's nothing you can do. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can try to kill the other sharks, right? But that's going to be hard because they might be bigger than you. They might be smarter. They might be faster. Or you can do what's called the blue ocean strategy, which is you can move to a part of the ocean where they aren't, right? So the question that we need to figure out is what market are your competitors ignoring? I think basically because for a couple of reasons, I think that number one, basically increasing your sales to actual customers is not viable. I think that for a couple of reasons. The percentage of people that the percentage of people that you are already selling to doesn't beget relationships with customers, right? You don't have enough of an infrastructure to really leverage that and to pivot. Another question I have not asked is, do you have time? So like, are you going to be in a position at some point soon where you might have to shut down the business? And if that's the case, then it's really different. I assume that's not the case. I assume you're just kind of like,
Okay, so I'm sorry for interrupting.
it's okay. Yeah.
So I think we have a couple of months probably because we have some pretty big bills that we have to pay in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Maybe half a year, not more than that. So if we can survive paying off these bills, which I think we will, because so far we have. My parents are really good at making miracles. After that, I think we will have a lot of time to continue the business and grow.
Okay.
Because right now, if we pay off these bills, I think we'll have a lot of leftover revenue that we'll be able to put into the infrastructure of the business.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine too. I didn't get a sense from your email or from your discussion that you're in any immediate danger. Obviously, that's not. I'm not trying to downplay the problems that we're trying to fix, but sometimes when I'm like called in, like I'm either called in as like, yeah, we got some problems. I don't know, like Bill thinks the business could be better, or I'm called in like, yeah, this is kind of really shitty, and we've been like this for a couple of years. We really want to improve, and that's like your situation. Or I'm called in like
Yeah,
high threat, like
that's a second situation.
yeah, or I'm called in like high threat response where it's like I break through the window. It's like my business is freaking dead in like a month if we don't fix it. Yeah, it's like that's like and like if you were number 3, I'd be like just like you're probably done. Like because manufacturing and product based businesses take so long to pivot that it's just like it's just gonna
Yeah,
be
it requires a lot of time.
yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, I'd be like, become a Twitch streamer or something, dude. Because yeah, I'd be like, but that's not the situation. Like the situation is like you're going to survive, but you can be better, and that's good. So,
Yeah,
the
definitely.
the blue ocean strategy thing. So again, like okay, let's go back to like increase your sales to actual customers. Like I think, in this would be like a 2 to 3 year play, where you like focused on being a consumer based business. And I don't like this, but I think you should think about it. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
you should
so
have a think about it. Like not like think about it right now, but you should sit down and be like, what would my business look like if I was a consumer based business?
so what
How does that
exactly
shit
do you
work? Yeah,
mean by
yeah.
a consumer-based business?
What I mean is that right now, 5% of your sales are to customers. What would it look like if 50% of your sales were? What if people were buying
Ah,
your stuff
okay.
online? What if people were buying your stuff on Amazon? What if people were buying your stuff in neighboring countries? What if you had a website where you advertised this yourself? What if you drove pay per click through advertising and you made that happen? And again, this is not. I'm not suggesting this as the solution. I'm going to suggest the solutions later. I'm just saying you as a business owner should think about this, and this is one of those like so like just to get into like a little bit of a discussion about like C-level thinking. In my opinion, the only job there's 2 types of working in a business, right? You can work in a business or you can work on a business. The biggest mistake that small family businesses do is they work in the business. So like if
Yeah,
you're
I think working on a business is much better.
yeah, if your dad is making grills, that is super bad, right? And like I don't think it's that level, is it?
Um, I'm, I think it sort of is.
Oh shit. Okay. So yeah, so that is the number one problem that small family businesses do, okay? Is like they get obsessed with so you'll go into a retail shop. So I'll give you an example. I was visiting the lawyers for Nerd Fusion, the company that I run outside of the stream. My other identity, this is I'm not sure which one is Batman. I might be Batman off stream. Yeah, I'm Batman off stream. Okay, this
Probably
yeah
off stream, yeah.
yeah. Okay, so when I'm Batman, I run another company, help run another company with another guy, and we were going to go see our lawyers. It's in downtown Seattle, and below the lawyer shop is a CMO thinks he runs the company. There's 2 C-level executives. Okay, can you? Don't you have a job to do? Why are you here? All right. Anyway,
I think they're trolling you at this point. Yeah.
like freaking stale, dude. Okay, so there's a store beneath the lawyer place that sells tea, and I love tea. I love it. So I go down there, and there's this just like Chinese guy sitting there. He's actually Taiwanese, and he has the most wonderful tea. I mean, the tea is like amazing, and I bought a lot of it, and I actually just finished a cup of it just now, and I was really happy, and I was like, man, like, he's like, yeah, like business is tough, like I don't really get a lot of business, and I'm like, well, are you selling your like tea online? And he's like, no, all I do is I make the tea, like I put the tea in the bags, I find it. And like I'm thinking like, well, okay, that's all stuff that you could have like a dude do for like some dollars an hour, and then I think of my favorite tea place, I did a bit of consulting for. And when they started off, they were a small tea shop in Chicago that I came into on accident because I was at a Tony Robbins event, which is a motivational speaker in
Yeah.
Chicago, and they built a website where previously about like I would say in 2010 ish, maybe 90% or more of their sales were walk in, just like walk into the store. And
Yeah.
now, well over 90% of their sales are from this website that I have on the screen here, and I order
Yeah, I
from
see
them as
it.
well. Yeah. So like what I'm saying is, this all goes back to a really important concept to understand, which is that this was a family business where previously the way that they thought about their time was, well, I ought be in the shop, I should be selling the product, I should be talking the product, I should be doing that thing. But they didn't spend any time to think on the business where if they step back and say, shit, if I just make a website, I'm going to increase my sales by 2 zillion%, right? If I figure out how that works. And so like what the disease that you have is like like your business has is a very, very common thing. And the only answer, like in all three of these solutions that we're going to come up with today, is to think about this from a different angle. You have to step back and say, okay, this we've been doing the same thing for 20 years. We have to do something different, and that's going to come from one of these three solutions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So right now, my father sorts of understands this, and currently, he and my uncle are basically the dude that you said that has to sit in the shop and sell the tea.
Yeah.
And I'm the person who has to think about how to sell these things online, for example. And I'm the person who basically deals with that things at the moment.
Right. I understand that's actually fine because the way that I would think of that now is that like you are CEO. Okay? Because the real role of a CEO is and this is not something that they teach in school, and like you mentioned, like you're thinking about pursuing a master's and things like I can tell you like that's a good
Yeah.
idea for a lot of reasons, but like it's not going to help you run a business. Like the number one thing that a CEO should think about for hours a day is like what are the force multipliers? Do you know what a force multiplier is?
No.
Okay, so it's an American concept, so I asked. In our army, which we're really proud of because we have like big guns and like we like to blow shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have groups of soldiers, obviously, right? And we also have special forces. So we have like Navy SEALs. You probably heard of those guys, like
Yeah, I
equivalent to
have.
this. Yeah, like so we have like Navy SEALs. We have like Rangers. Okay, so a Navy SEAL is called a force multiplier because on a battlefield, what that is that's a singular person who counts for like 10 people. So if you have five of
I
those
see what you
people,
mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you have five of those people on the field, you might as well have 50 people on the field, right?
Yeah.
So when
I understand. Yeah.
right, and business and war are super similar, and it's like I'm only a C-level executive because I'm like too much of a wuss to like be on a battlefield. Like I would like I'm like the kind of guy that like wishes he was in like a Roy armor in like the samurai era, like going, but instead I just like try to beat people down in business because it's the same thing. Like business was the evolution where it was like, man, we should stop. Our weapons got like too good. We should stop blowing people up as much, and we should just like do this like kind of like shadow war stuff with money instead.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
fuck them up in the
Yeah,
backstage. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like when you're thinking about force multipliers, like a CEO should sit there and say, okay, what is the thing that 5x is my business? What is the thing that 10x is my business, right? So like any of those questions, like what is the one thing that I've been ignoring that I know I need to do, or I know I need to delegate to really take those are the questions the CEO should be asking themselves every day, right? And I even have a list that I'll give you right now.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a list that I give to clients. Let me go find it.
So right now I'm sort of asking myself these questions, but I have no way to like answer these questions.
Yeah,
I
I mean
have
that's
no
part of why we're
knowledge to
here.
to step on. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also a sort of hidden problem in this, and this is honestly not a thing that I can help you with, which is how much power you actually have over these changes. Because, for example, if you decide to pivot the business in a direction and then your dad says no, like that's a huge problem. But I can't help you with that at all. You have to like,
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
I mean, we're having a lot of discussions about these things, and they're willing to listen.
good,
They're not
okay,
people who are gonna go headstrong into something and say no to anything different. So I think if I can show them the reason behind what I'm saying, and I think they can follow my advice.
okay, um, okay. So let's start talking more about the solutions. I sent you an email with the questions that I ask. And I think just knowing those will be like a huge thing.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, so like when I use the website example, I don't think that this is the solution. I think the pivot takes too long. And I think that, but I think that going back to the CEO mindset, you should sit back and every once in a while, like pull this can out of the idea drawer and kick it around a bit. Like, what would my business look like if I sold 50% to consumers?
Yeah. So if I have to give a vague answer about on this question, I think it's going to be much better because the margins we have on online sales are much higher than the margins we have on sales to distributors, just because the way how online selling works.
You think it would be better?
Yeah, because currently the online store that we're selling on, even after we pay all the commissions for the service that we're using, we're making higher profits compared
Interesting.
to the to selling on to the distributors. Yeah, and I think I mentioned this in my email. Basically, the distributors in Bulgaria, the only thing they care about is the price. So if someone goes to their warehouse
Well, wait, but
and
that's
show,
sorry to interrupt, but that's obviously not true because you have a competitor selling to them at higher prices and they don't care.
well,
What's going on there?
yeah. So this is what I have. I have absolutely no idea how this guy
Oh,
is
I
doing
I can
this,
tell you why.
and this frustrates me immensely because when we go to, and this is probably on your second point that you wrote down, because when we go to the distributor and we try to talk to him, he cares only about the price. A couple of months ago,
Yep.
we had to raise the prices because all the materials um, got more expensive. So when we went to the distributor and said we had to raise the price for, like, let's say $1, some of these distributors straight out stopped working with us, and they went out and bought grills from distributors that are selling on lower prices. They didn't even go and buy grills from the competitor who sells with higher prices, just because they care about lower prices. They said we can't sell this to the customer because we're making no profit.
It's relationships, dude. That's how he's doing it.
Ye-
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
like it's 100% relationships, and like what I would do, and this is like some serious hustling, but really like again like you're in a war in my view, like I would go to his distributors and I would call them up and I'd be like, what could we do? And you may not get calls back, like, but if you even get one, it's gonna be so crazy. But like it's like, what can we do um to pull you away from this? How would that be possible? Like in what world would we be able to pull you away from this guy and try to understand what is going on there? Because if you can figure out what his competitive advantage is with these, I mean, I know it's two things. One, he has just a better relationship and he's working that angle, and two, there may because you're in a country where this I think is a little bit more maybe there's money moving under the table. super
There's
possible.
a lot of money that is moving under the table.
Yeah.
My country is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Like, no joke. We're up there in the statistics.
So that's insane. So like, so what's probably happening is he's he's paying people under the table for these relationships, and then um, what the message they're sending to you on the upside is, oh yeah, like we care about prices, but like obviously that's not the case because like they're buying at higher prices from them. So like, um, and this is what I'm about to do is like, I can't believe I'm doing. But from a listen, like it works differently. Like you may consider that strategy because like if you are in the United States, this is not something we can do. But
I mean, you probably get sued in the United States for doing this. Yeah.
well, if you get caught, yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you get
Mhm.
caught. Yeah.
But it and like I mean maybe like people are gonna like go like hard on me for this, but like the way that I see bribing people in Bulgaria is as more it's a much more culturally accepted thing, right? Like whereas like this is almost like me like paying Facebook for advertising in America. I see it as like the same level where it's like there's a whole moral and ethical debate around this, but the fact of the matter is, if your competitor is doing it, is enabled to do it, and is doing it at no risk to themselves legally, you should probably do it too.
Yeah, unless someone goes and sells him out to the authorities, there's no way they will catch him, like, ever. This just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and even if he does, he can pay off the authorities, probably.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so, yeah.
yeah. Okay, so talking about number two, increasing your relationships with distributors. Um, I think you need to do the groundwork to talk to the distributors in the space and get on a very high level, right? Like, so you'd be asking questions
What,
like
what do you mean in the space?
in the market,
Okay.
like on a pretty high level, I would say like, what what is um what is going on in the market? Why do you choose these competitors? And obviously this is like you don't just like call them up and be like, I have 10
I
questions
mean,
for you.
yeah,
Yeah, this is like a
obviously, yeah.
yeah. Like you schedule a meeting, you sit down, like, hey, like how's it? I would do it under this pretense, right? I would say, hey, like I've been like looking over my company, and I'm trying to understand just how to do better with distributors, and just like how to serve you guys better, right? And that's something they'll always appreciate. 'Cause it's like, oh, okay, like great, like they're like basically you're the way you want to market it is you're having this meeting with them because you're looking to better serve them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, make their business better.
Yeah, and then through that you begin a discovery process to try to understand how this is working. Why are these distributors using certain competitors over you? What are their needs? And like you need to go beyond this. Like the price thing is a gatekeeper. The like that's not the real answer. Sure, it is. It is
Yeah,
an
I
answer.
think so too. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not the main answer.
Yeah, exactly. It is an answer. There's like it obviously if you come in and say, "Hey, I've got to grow for $5," like okay, but that's not what's really happening. Somebody else is happening. You got to figure out what that is. And then I think I'm talking about doing like hours of groundwork of like meetings, right? Like calling up distributors saying like, "Hey, I'd love to have an hour of your time," getting that scheduled, sitting down with them, and really trying to understand what is going on in this business. And like, I don't think in that context that any distributor is going to sit you down and be like, "Well, all I care about is price." I think they're going to tell you other shit, especially if you do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once you get that information, you're going to be way more informed to make a strategic decision.
So, me personally, I have no experience in doing this, so I'm gonna be probably going to be extremely bad at doing this, and also I have no reputation in the eyes of these people. But I think probably my father or my uncle Only my uncle can do this much better than I can.
Yeah, that's fine. That could be something that you determine, right? That there's maybe a better person to do this.
I mean, yeah, because if I go in front of these people and I ask them questions like this, they're most likely not gonna answer me.
You might be
It's just
surprised.
the way
It
how.
it totally depends on how you do it, right? To some extent, being an underdog can be a benefit because what you do is you go, look, um, and I've taught a lot of people to do this. Like a lot of people that I've worked with that are like way younger. This is super good strategy. What you do is like you go and you're like, man, I'm dog shit at this. I'm trying to start taking over some responsibility for my dad's business, but I really don't know what's going on. I'd really appreciate your time if you could explain some of the stuff to the market for me so that I can better serve you later when I learn this stuff. This is if you come to I'm telling you if you come to a person with that energy, so like I'm not talking about like, hey, I'm in the business, I'm a chum, like I know what's going on. You go in with like, dude, I got no idea what's going on in this business. I'm trying to learn. I've been learning from my dad, but it's tough. Like I would so much appreciate like the U.S. equivalent to this, right? And
Yeah,
this is a
yeah.
strategy that I have done throughout my entire life. It is the reason why I am here right now. Is I have gone to people, and I can remember the people in my life where I've done this. One time, I went to a person. There was a guy that sat at Starbucks in the place that I used to live, and every day at 5:30, he was at Starbucks looking at stocks. And he was a retired professor from Golden Gate University on a trend following method called the Wyckoff strategy, which is basically just like tracking trends in stocks and figuring out what's going to happen based on that.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah.
I sat down at his table one day because I really wanted to learn stocks. And I said, Liz, and I was like, dude, I know nothing about stocks. He didn't know who I was. I didn't have an in, total cold. Like I was like, but I know who you are. And look, I've prepared this like outline. And I showed him it. And it's like, if you could take 30 minutes every week to sit down, I would come here and I will sit down with you. You just tell me a little bit about what you're doing, and I'll take notes, and like I would really appreciate it. There is a certain human need, I think, to pass knowledge on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
also feel better by teaching someone.
Yeah. And I mean, it was like I didn't have to sell this at all. I probably could have done so much worse with this guy. I probably could have sat down and be like, "Hey, can you teach me stocks?" He would have been like, "Yeah." Like I didn't have to like do all this stuff. And like I could tell you, like my entire life was like a amalgamation of this strategy, right? I'm telling you, it works. Like Twitch partnership, right? 2011, I get carried because one of my viewers ends up having to work at PAX West. He can't go, so he gives me his hotel and his tickets because I can't afford it. Right, I'm like a streamer. Like and I go to the Twitch booth at PAX West, and I go meet. I go to a random person who has a Twitch shirt on, and I'm like, hey, who's the highest level person that works here? They're like,
Yeah.
well, it's this guy, John Howell. And John Howell at the time was like number, I don't know, like number 9 or 10 at Twitch. Now he's like a really good friend of mine. And he now runs all of partnerships for Twitch, like everybody, everything. It's crazy. So I go to John Howell, who's like a 20 something like dude who like just like doesn't give a shit. And like, and he's like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, and I pull out this laminated business plan of like how I'm going to become a better streamer. It's got all this shit in it. It's got
Oh,
like
you did your homework.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like here's like the way I'm gonna get viewers. Like here's like what I'm gonna do. I have this like League of Legends strategy that's like different from everybody else. Like here's what the other streamers are doing right now and what they're not doing. He takes my like laminated plan. He doesn't even look at it, and he's like, "Did you just give me a laminated business plan?" And I'm like, "I guess I did." And he's like, "Come on!" And he comes over, he partners me on the spot and gives me a sub button right there, which like at the time was like a really big deal because like now you can get partnered. I feel like if I have like if I don't know, like getting partnered on Twitch is like so easy now, but like back then you
Yeah, I
needed
remember it
400
was
concurrence.
really
It was
difficult
so
back then.
hard,
Yeah.
yeah. And so like right then, right, and like that sub button, like 2 months later, I had 900 subs. Like that sub button gave me the profits that I needed to like build the stream to a totally different level. And so like coming from a position of that mentorship, that it can really work, and you should try it. You should do that no matter what, dude, because you owe it to yourself to understand your business.
Oh yeah, definitely. I absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you distributors are at every advantage to answer those questions, right?
I mean, yeah.
You should also have your dad work the circuit too, but your dad's going to be working on a different level than you. You're going to be working to learn. You're receiving. Your dad's going to trade the pleasantries. He's gonna back and forth like, how's the business, dude? Like, oh yeah, it's like this is how it is over here, right? That's going to be that kind of trade. But you're going to come in like, I think you'll even get more out of it. Completely receptive. Like, I don't know what's happening, and maybe you do know what's happening. I think you do. I think you know a lot more, but you don't broadcast that.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so that's what I mean by increasing distributors. And then the third one, the third strategy I think is where you have the most amount of leverage, and that's what I would call the blue ocean strategy, which is another high level thinking exercise where you sit down and you say, you are right now in a very competitive market, and not only are you in a competitive market, you're in a small market for the number of competitors there are. So if there's like 5 competitors in Bulgaria that are all selling these grills, the issue is like it's really a red ocean where you're at. And
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
there are way too many people selling the same thing to not enough people, not enough
Yep.
customers.
So
And the customers are decreasing every single year because a lot of people are going to other countries.
Yep. So you need to sit back and say, what is the market that I'm not tapping? And ask yourself that question like for 4 hours a day until you get an answer. And like it's gonna be, and like I'll tell you already, I'm getting a hunch of like where it is. I think you look at your UK sales, and you look at, well, maybe not now with Brexit, maybe that's all screwed. But I mean that's an honest thing. Like maybe that actually is a huge problem. So like, but look at. So luckily the UK is not the only first world country in Europe. Like
I mean,
you look at France,
the
look at
whole
Germany,
European Union, yeah.
Yeah. You look at France, look at Germany, look at these places, and say where is this? Because I'll tell you what, right? I live in the United States all my life. I've never seen your grill before. I've never seen this. This doesn't exist here. We have George Foreman, which is like which is okay. I mean, I guess, but we also have teppanyaki grills, which are like these kind of like flat grills that you can have. But I've never seen this. This is crazy. And
the problem with this grill is that it's very heavy, and a delivery cost to the United States is going to be very high. But if we find
no, I'm not talking about going to the United States. That's crazy. I'm saying you go to the EU.
Okay.
Yeah. Because what I'm saying is like in a first world country, I don't have a concept of this, right? There may be other countries where this may be applicable. And so when I'm saying blue ocean strategy, right? That's going 2 ways, okay? So you can either, number one, find a market where you may be able to sell higher, right? So that I'm thinking France, basically any Germany, right? Or find a market where you may be able to sell at your prices, but there isn't as much supply, right? Meaning like, and that could be Poland. It could be like any second world country that's around you, like countries around Bulgaria, right? I don't really know my geography that well, so I'm not gonna. I just thought of Poland because that's a second world country. So
Macedonia, Turkey, yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be like the first, and you need to like really, really do the work. And this is like big work. It's like you open up a notepad and you like sit down and you super big brain this. Like you just like you completely try to absorb what this means. Okay. And like you go, okay, first, okay. And this means like market research. Like, okay, so number one, I'll try to find a market where I can sell for higher like the UK, but I would honestly not use, like, I'm not even memeing. I would not rely on your sales in the UK right now because I'm
Oh
so.
yeah, the
I,
UK is a big
Brexit
deal right now. Yeah.
it's an atomic bomb. Like I would not do any kind of trade agreements there for the next like freaking 2 years until they figure
Maybe
their
even
stuff
more.
out. Yeah. It's gonna be a complete shit show for a long time in the UK. So um, you sit down, you say, okay, a list of countries where I think there aren't grills like this, and that means you got to do research, right? You got to I don't know how you even do that. Like you go to you might call distributors in Germany. That'd be a super. So that'd be something that was completely worth your time. And say like, hey, like I have this grill. What's the market there? Do you think there's something to do there? You might call distributors in France, right, and ask that question. And then secondly, you do thinking like, okay, where might I be able to sell where there isn't as much supply? And can I increase my sales outside of Bulgaria, for looking immediately to the countries around you, and then from there expanding outward and saying, okay, well, are there other places in the sort of Eastern European region where I can sell these, where my competitors are what you're going to find is there's going to be, I promise you, there's going to be one of two things that'll happen. Well, it's actually the same thing. It's just gonna matter if you sell it higher or lower. But what's gonna happen is you're gonna find a place where the demand for these is going to outpace the supply, and that's where you focus.
Well, I sure hope there's a place like this. Yeah.
Oh, that's how markets work, right? Your product already sells well. So like, I mean, there's a demand for grills in the universe. I would like one. Like it's like I don't know, like there's like
I can probably send you one. Yeah.
like there's a demand for grills is what I'm saying, right? So like there is a market. It's impossible for me to. I mean, maybe it is true, but it's impossible for me to believe that literally every single market in the world just has enough grills. like that every single market individually has enough portable grills that you're just good to go. Like at every single place you call is like, no, we got that. There's like 5 competitors. And look, that it wouldn't be the first time that that's actually true if that's the case. And then you're like, well, how do I pivot? Like, what's my new product? Like, what's that, right? But you haven't determined that yet. You haven't done enough market research to make that claim.
Well, this product is very specific to our country because of the food we eat. So,
I don't
the
know
way
about
you
that.
eat ground meat, for example,
Yeah.
the way we eat ground meat, for example, is very different to the way we eat the thing. So we make meatballs and like meat sticks and steaks and things like
I
that.
mean,
And
like Greece does kebabs. Like, I mean,
yeah, kebabs, yes, things
yeah.
like that. But they're very different to the things you guys have. So
In the
it's
U.S., yeah,
sort of
but we're not
a
talking about the
tradition.
United
Yeah,
States. The United States, like,
yeah,
can you put a
yeah.
steak on it?
So
Can you grill a steak on
yeah,
this? Well,
yeah.
the United States would love it, dude. Like, but we're not selling in the United States. But I'm saying it would work here too. Like, if you
Yeah,
can,
what I mean is that the way we consume products like food is very different to the countries around us. So we
and I'm
can
telling you, I
probably
don't
if we
think it is. I think I'm saying that may be a perception of yours, but I would, and you might be right, okay, but I would really do the homework to make sure that you're right on that,
oh yeah,
because
definitely,
yeah,
definitely,
because
yeah.
I think like um I think I could see the use case applications for this at any level,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So like I would say um do your homework, man. Like, unless you've called, like, okay, like it could literally be this, like, right, like make a list of, I don't know, 50 distributors in countries around you. call every single one, email every single one with a picture of your grill and be like, is this something that you think would be good in your market? And then obviously have like a premise, like, hi, I'm trying to get into my dad's business, and like I'm trying to learn about like new markets and stuff like that. And I'm trying to learn how to better serve distributors. So like, would you use this? Like, right? Like that's like,
Yeah, I
so
see.
it's an obvious question, right? Like you'd be like that's dumb. Like why would it? But no, like what if you call a Greek distributor and you're like, would you use this? And then they answer you, and because to be clear, right? Like out of the 50 you call, 45 are never gonna get back to you. But if one person in Greece is like, yeah, that we make kebabs all the time, dude, I would buy that. Like your business changes overnight. So
Yeah, we
everything
have
about
ground
business
to
is,
work on. Yeah.
huh?
We will have ground to work on from that one
Yes, which
person.
is what you don't have right now. And again, like we're like remember what we said like as the premise of this entire thing, right? Your entire objective here as a CEO is to think about a new angle because you've been doing the same shit for a zillion years. So now you need to think about what do we do different? And like what would be different is if you call, and I mean 50 is low. I would call 500. I call every single distributor in Europe. I would do it. Like if it was my business, I'd do it. I'd call every distributor in Europe 8 hours a day, and I would do it until I got an answer that was like, this is why, or yes we would, or whatever, right? So like, you may get a distributor in Poland that's like, dude, I have been looking for this product my entire life. I'll buy 10,000 of them, right? Like that is like business. This is super important to understand. This could be like this like big brain thing here. Business, and I've talked about this in streaming too. It's true for everything when it comes to business. Is all about the number of at bats, right? Do you know baseball?
No. I mean, I know the sport, but I don't watch it.
You know
So I
how it
don't know the
works?
rules. You hit a ball with a stick.
Yep. You hit a ball with a stick. Guy throws a ball at you. Well, he throws a ball towards you, and then you hit that ball. And the further it goes, the better, unless it goes in a direction that it shouldn't go, and then that's bad. But if it goes really far in the right direction, it's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's baseball basically. Okay. So the number of times that you get to what we call the plate, which is you stand there with the stick and the person throws the ball at you and you swing, okay? Maybe you miss one time, right? And then if that's your only time at the plate, well, you're hosed. You're out of business, right? But if you've been at the
Yeah.
plate 1,000 times and you missed 999 times, you only need to hit once to win, right? Another example of it is like in basketball, which I'm probably sure you're way more familiar with.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, basketball is like they've looked at NBA data, and this is a really interesting like topic to me, which is that people that are going for out of bounds balls. So there's a boundary, right? There's like it's a rectangle
Yep.
arena. Yeah, when the ball is heading out of bounds, there are some players that run for the ball, and there are other players that are just like it's out of bounds, right? The guys that run for the ball universally get more plays, score more points, do better for the team, right? Because they're
Yeah,
they're
they do the
hustling.
work.
Yeah, they're going for the out of bounds ball. They're because they're creating more opportunity, and so like when and this is really hard because when you're at the ground level of a family business, it's really hard to see this because you are just like in the soup of it. You're just in it. Like you're doing your thing day to day. Like your dad's making grills and he's like not thinking about it really, and like you're doing your thing. But it's like the only way that you can do this is you have to remove your perspective from that level, right? This is this is a hard thing to do. This is why so many businesses stay small, right? Like over 95%
Yeah.
of businesses in the world are small businesses. They don't grow because of this concept. It's because nobody removes themselves from the business.
I see. Yeah.
You need to do research, man, and you need to hustle it. Like you need to call distributors. You need to call distributors in other countries. Send emails, and like you need to make a work schedule for yourself, of these tasks, until you A, have a lot of data and you understand the markets in other places, or B, find an opportunity. I don't know which one will come first, but like I promise you, it will come if you do the work.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to do to work on, which I'm most definitely not doing at the moment. And I definitely have a lot of work to do. I mean, I don't even know where to start, for example, to find all these distributors in other countries, but I'm sure the internet can do its magic.
Google is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, you can find one, call them up, and if you have a conversation, and they're like, all right, what are 5 other distributors in your area?
Yeah, that's actually a very good idea.
Yeah. That's something you can
Yeah.
do. Um, another good, by the way, just like another is like really quick business tip. Like if you do have a different, like if there's a marketing strategy that's just I don't remember what the name of it, the technique of it is. Doesn't matter, I guess, but it's a J. Abram concept. It's and this works like really well. You can actually build entire businesses off just this concept, which is like, take your existing client base, the ones that are
Okay.
happy with you, call them
Yeah.
up and say, hey, like just checking in, how you doing? You know, and then they go, but this and this, like, what are your needs? Okay, like, you know, you have that conversation. Maybe your dad does this, and then he says, uh, hey, we're trying to like expand our business. Like, what is one other client that you could recommend us that you think would benefit from our grills? And then they'll tell you. And then you email that person and say, hey, Joe, actually, nobody's probably named Joe in Bulgaria, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever.
More like Ivan.
Yeah, okay. Yvonne is, Yvonne over there at this distributor place said that we should like talk and that maybe we can benefit you. Here's my product, right? And like you can literally build an entire business off of this because it's a force multiplier. Because here, like what happens is let's say that one client refers you to one client. Well, then let's say that new client then refers you to the next client. Then that next client, you see what I mean? So like now all of a sudden
Yeah.
you have like 50 clients. The problem with this is that if you just focus on Bulgaria for the strategy, you're probably going to run out of distributors really quick because there's not going to be that many.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the market is very saturated, and a lot of the people that we can reach, we've already reached.
Yep. Yeah. Which is why I think Blue Ocean strategy is the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Fred says in chat, so he's in retail and has a lot of experience in this. Look at manufacturing design process. All manufacturing starts with manufacturing. Make sure it's efficient. Use common parts and don't use custom parts. This can lower product cost.
Yeah, right now
I
the
can tell
cost
why
of the
I didn't.
manufacturing.
Do you think that there's an angle here? I could tell why. I could tell you why I didn't suggest this, but there might be. Yeah. Like, what do you think about like actually looking at the product R&D?
Well, there's almost no way to reduce the price, at least with the knowledge we have at the moment.
Yeah. So the situation.
Because
They're just it's not
yeah,
the reason why I didn't recommend this is because like we're not dealing with supercomputers here. Like this is like it's
oh yeah,
not you can't like reduce the chip efficiency of the grill to run like 50% more efficiently. There might be a play in like material costs, but like margins in product-based businesses like this are pretty low anyway. So it's like, let me give you like a good example, okay? I'll just give you like the perfect reason why I think that focusing on markets is better. Let's say that you make $4 per unit for large grill, and let's say that you can
Yep.
lower the price it costs you to make the unit from $16 to $14. Now you make $6 per grill. That's pretty good, right? But you know what
Yeah.
would be a lot better? Selling the fucking grill for $45 to a new
Oh
market
yeah,
in Germany,
absolutely.
right? Because your margins
Yeah.
are going to be that much higher. So the time that you put into R&D for the product, I just think is a better ROI of if you you just get better markets.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
Yeah. So I did consider that suggestion, and it is a good one, but it's not in the context of his business. So where you want to look at solutions like that is in like complex products, right? Like if you're looking at I'm building like computer monitors. It's like my price to build this thing is like $270 a unit. It's like, okay, well like that, then like at that point you want to look at like all the kind of stuff that you can possibly do. But in this situation, you want to look at like your answer is Blue Ocean Strategy. And by the way, there is a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. and I actually think it's pretty bad. Because I was gonna say maybe I should buy it for you because I know that they're pretty pricey in your country. But
We people in my country have a way of finding things
oh,
and
okay,
not paying
got it.
for them.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. This book legit costs $18 on Kindle. So you know what? That's ridiculous. If you can find this book in some way, that might be a book that you take a look at because that price is
I have
absolutely
a
absurd.
Kindle.
Don't buy
Yeah,
it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. So this book is like pretty. I don't know. It's one of those business books that like I read when I was like I read when I you know I like I read a lot of books.
yeah,
And I read this book, and it's one of those books that's like, here's the concept, and it's like, okay, and it's like, and now I have to do 240 more pages, you know, like yeah, like
yeah.
I still have to write. Yeah,
You've talked about this.
yeah. So it's like that kind of it's that kind of book. So just go in knowing that, but like, I think the blue ocean strategy for you is the answer, and how that manifests is like literally day one, you just start Googling like a freaking madman, find all the distributors you can, find all the manufacturers, find all the, even, and like also like retail stores too, right? Like literally there is no end. You should not have an end to the amount of work you can do on this. Because as soon as you're done with distributors, if you've called every distributor in Eastern Europe, well, now it's time to call every retail store in Eastern Europe, right? And be like, okay, so like, and like, I promise you, eventually you're gonna get you're gonna get relationships. It's just gonna happen because you're at bat. Right, and you don't need as much as you think. Like if you could do this and you could find 2 or 3 more relationships and increase your sale. One thing I didn't ask you is how many units you sell per year, but I mean I could do the math, but
I mean, you can do the math, but it depends on the season. So we sell a lot less units during the winter and colder months, and the work goes up during the warmer months.
yeah, I think you're probably selling somewhere between 15 and 20,000 units a year.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Okay. So if you could change that to 30,000, and then you could change that to a $10 or more profit margin because you can just sell the grills higher in other countries because you built those relationships, your business is going to be completely different. And by the way, this is not like you could do this under the timetable of the loans upcoming in 6. This is something that doesn't take 6 months.
Okay.
But you need to be willing to do the work, and like you need like the philosophy about that, and like that's a whole nother discussion. But like that's because I know you mentioned problems with procrastination.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting better at these things. Yeah.
Yep.
I guess a kid that grew up with computers suffers from these things. Yeah.
It's the biggest problem in my life, dude. Waiting for life to happen to you. But life doesn't happen unless you take the initiative and you do it. And I think you have a solution here that is super actionable. And I think you should know exactly what to do from here. And if you put in the work, you will get results. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how to sell your product?
Me personally, no.
Are you excited about it?
Well, in the sense that I'm gonna get something out of it, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's not good enough. You need to be so excited about these girls when you go call these people because you're gonna need to have it's called a value statement. You need to know what you need to be like. Look, like we sell awesome. Like I will sell this for you right now. Okay, this is like the. Have you ever heard of the? Did you watch Wolf of Wall Street?
When it came out.
Sell me this pen.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
The scene with the pen? Yeah.
Sell me this pen. Okay, bam. Listen, I make grills, okay? Like, but grills are horribly expensive. They're freaking huge. They're super heavy all the time, and it is incredibly annoying to cook on them. So I was like, fuck that. What I want to do is I want to make a grill that is so portable and efficient, but that also retains all of the efficiency of a normal grill, and I want to be able to put that on a countertop anywhere in the country. So we developed this product from the ground up. We built all of the tubes and we built everything. My dad and I, we stayed in a workshop. We spent hours building this product up until we thought was perfect. We threw it out. We built it again. We brought tons of people in, and after years and years and years, we built these grills. And now I can confidently say that these grills are basically the best grills out of all of Eastern Europe. And I'm trying to find new places for people that might want these, because I think this hasn't been done before any other places. These are our competitors. I've researched them. These guys have like these George Foreman grills. Like you have to like press it down and stuff and like close it in. It makes the meat all soggy. It sucks. You can get a grill that from this, you can get a steak that is perfectly cooked. You just turn that over twice for 2 minutes on each side. You get a great grill. Look, I brought one for you right here. I'm gonna make you a steak right now. You can taste it. It's amazing. Okay, like we're cooking it right here. That's how I would sell that shit with that kind of energy, right? Like I'm trying to get into new markets. What can we talk about? Like what can I do to benefit you? That you would think that these girls would be good in your market, right? Like, yeah, sell me this pen. Like you need to be excited.
Yeah, definitely. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you come at me with the energy you have on this phone call, and you're like, you don't want one of these, do you? Right? Like, I'm not gonna buy your grill.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You need to figure out what excites you about this product, and find that. And then when you talk to manufacturers, I mean, you need to be passionate about it in the sense that you're like, look, I think we have something that a lot of other people don't have. It works in Bulgaria, right? Like, it's like Bulgaria knows about this. I don't know that you guys in France know about it. Like, what do you think of this? Like, is this something you've seen before? And maybe it'll be like my reaction was like, dude, I've never seen this before. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Would I put one of these on my countertop and make steaks with it? Fuck yeah, I would. I don't have one of these. I got to use I don't make steaks at home right now because I can't, because I live in a freaking like a zillion story apartment that has like a shitty electric stove countertop. I guess I could make a steak in like a frying pan, but fuck all that, right? Like,
Well,
yeah.
to be honest, if you really want one, I can send you one, no problem.
I might take you up on it, man. Having a Bulgarian, listen, I'll make you a deal, okay? I want to earn it. So if you do what we said and it works, okay, you owe me a grill, and I'm gonna have.
I'll probably send you two at least.
Okay, and I'm gonna have a. We could do a giveaway to the stream for one of them, and then the other one I'm gonna have a Bulgarian grill in my kitchen. That'd be freaking sweet.
Yeah.
I think that this is two-part strategy. Like one is just like you do the work and you know how to do that. And the second thing is like I think you have to kind of step back and say like what actually makes this product exciting? Because I can tell you it is. Like it's not you might like you grew up in the business, so like your kind of initial notion is like, oh, it's like kind of like
Yeah,
like
it's a thing we do.
It's a grill,
and
yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah, it's a grill.
Yeah, but for someone
I'm
else,
used to it because I'm doing this every day.
exactly. But for someone else that hasn't seen it and that hasn't experienced it, it's not a grill. It's a solution that they've been looking for, right? Like I'm telling you, like right now, I don't have a way to make steaks. I can't get a grill. There's no way. I could buy a George Foreman, but it's like kind of like memey and like it's kind of like whatever. So like there are tons of people in France, Germany, Poland, everywhere that have this problem, right? And so like you got to like step away from your business a little bit and be like, this is actually awesome for other people. And by the way, like the best way to do this is to interact with your customers. By far. Like, one of the big reasons this is happening to you and you have this feeling and your dad has this feeling too is because 95% of your sales are distributors. So you never see the customer get your product and use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have trade shows?
The only time no.
You just don't have trade shows? Like these don't exist in Bulgaria?
There's a fair in Bulgaria, in my city, but it happens once or twice a year, and it's not a common thing at all. And usually, companies that are really huge go there.
You should check the price. So I'll tell you another story, okay? When I was at CLG, I devoted a pretty decent chunk of change to making CLG appear at every gaming event in the United States. So we were at PAX West, and by appear, I mean we had a booth there. We were the only esports team to ever do this until Liquid and TSM copied us. And what we would do is we would show up, and we would build a booth, and then we'd sell apparel, and then we'd have pro players sit there and play Smash with people that wanted to sit down and like you could play Smash with Aphromoo, right? That's super cool. And me, the CEO that runs a 100-person company that could be doing anything else, right? I could like, how much does it cost me to hire a person to stand there and sell T-shirts? It costs me $15 an hour, maybe. I could probably get a volunteer to do it because it's CLG, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But do you want to know where I was? I was sitting there selling T-shirts for 10 hours a day. Why? Because I wanted to understand my customer. I wanted to understand the people that like esports. And I can tell you that taught me a shitload about CLG and about who I'm buying from because I worked directly with that customer and I understood their needs. This is like probably one of the best uses of my time. Like when you're working through distributors and you're working through manufacturers and you're working through these middlemen, you don't know like how your customers are reacting to your product. Of course, you aren't passionate about your product. You've never seen anybody use it.
Yeah, absolutely. The only connection I have with people is when I'm talking with them over the phone when I do the online sales. That's
Yeah, and
it.
that's like
And it's
a
usually like a
transactional.
1 minute long call.
Yeah, that's transactional. So like
Yeah.
this is yet another thing that you need to think about, which is like, okay, like how do I get in front of my customers? When I think about that, like the American solution is trade shows, events, fairs, things like that, where like you can like physically get in front of them. Like go to this Bulgarian fair, like or figure out how much it costs to set. Maybe it's not viable. Like maybe it's going to cost you something to set it up, and put out 4 of these grills, and grill some steaks for people. So or some meatball, whatever you do. Yeah, meatballs, Defiance. Yeah, or kebabs, whatever. And see how they respond. And dude, you'll learn so much. And then you'll like, I promise you, like, the truth is like everything, and there's no boring businesses. There just isn't. Airplane parts are super exciting. Right? Like I knew a person that was so passionate in airplane parts. This is someone I was consulting. Because that is literally a tube that you get inside that propels you through the air. That's insane. Okay, that's like actually ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
It's absolutely insane. Yeah. 300 years ago, we would have been gods, flying in magical chariots to get places in seconds, right? Like,
oh yeah, they would build churches for us.
Yeah, like everything is nuts in the world, right? Like you have to find your passion and the way you find your passion is you talk to customers.
Yeah, I guess me sitting around these grills for days and days and years, I've gotten so used to them that it's something that's every day a thing to me.
Of course, yeah, they're just but you find how it's different.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. That's probably
this game.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, the things you said about the passion and the story of the grill, I think these things gave me a very good perspective on what I can work on, definitely. And
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about these things.
Good. Okay, and we'll save this VOD too, so you can go back and look at it. And
I'm probably going to look at it at least 10 times.
Yeah, I would. And take a look at it, and then hang out in the stream. I'm gonna gift you a sub right now, and I want you to come back frequently and tell me how you're doing, and we'll talk about it.
Well, to be honest, I watched almost every stream you have, and
I'm terribly sorry.
all the time is. Well,
Mm.
just for the tidbits of knowledge that you say here and there and provide to the people on your stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for these 5 minutes, I watched the entire VOD, and I think it's worth it.
Thank you. Yeah, I do like gameplay, and then occasionally somebody will like ask me a question. I'm like, oh, like, and then we talk about that. Yeah, it's funny because like I have been like thinking about how this show should be, right, and I've come to realize that I don't. So there's two directions I don't want to go, right? I don't want to be a pure discussion stream because you just it's just too draining. And
It will eventually get boring for people.
yeah, and I also don't want to be a debate stream because I'm just like not that type of person. So it's like, where can I provide value to people? But then like after we do that, like we can still like play video games and have a great time, and we can kind of like interact and kind of like weave between that mix. And I realized, I was like, man, we can have awesome discussions like this. And then we can also like play video games and have a really entertaining time and be fun. And I was like, man, like, and like, by the way, like you're like kind of like the first like pilot of this.
That's nice.
Yeah. And like, and then like also like this conversation could go on YouTube and benefit someone else that may be thinking like this or something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what you're doing right now is really great, and you're good at it. Definitely.
Thanks, man. Yeah. It's the only thing that feels a little bit weird is like I used to do this for like a lot of money, like consulting businesses. So
now it's not
now
a lot of money at all.
now it's like free to all of Twitch chat. So like, but the thing is, here's the thing about that, right? There's a weird concept there, which is like, if you give away your best stuff for free, you're forced to be even better. And
you can develop new stuff.
Yeah, and then the other truth of it is like it's counterintuitive, but it's like me providing this, and this is like I'm not like holding anything back. Like, this is like my highest level, right? I'm going in, like this is the best I can do, and like me providing this doesn't stop another company from being like, hey, here's my specific situation, like how do we do this? Yeah. But you would think it does, because they'd be like, "Oh, I'll just watch his YouTube video, then not pay him." But it doesn't actually work that way. I think, yeah.
You need the personal opinion and the situation, definitely.
Yeah, because if someone comes in and it's like, "Hey, I don't sell grills in Bulgaria. I sell baseballs," right? Like, well, maybe like some of the stuff, it's like you didn't even know what baseball was, and I'd be like, well, you have a real problem because nobody knows what baseball is in your country. So, so it's like a total different situation. Yeah. When we initially started this conversation, I was like, man, how the heck am I going to provide value to this person? And then like I think we made some headway. I'm also going to send you these notes as well, an email.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you definitely helped me.
I hope so, man, and I hope you keep up with me and like just tell me what's going on and keep the chat. You know, you have a lot of people here that will remember you now. He's Hizuki in chat, and so we'll want to hear from you.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely get back at you.
Hell yeah, good stuff, man.